Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and we're back with another live stream of Hearthstone. Sorry, got distracted there for a second. I'm trying to mess with the background colors of the text stream, which I forgot to fix from the last stream. Let's start with the date. Today is Friday, June 22nd. The Steam Summer Sale is going on. Let me start right at the beginning asking people to friend me on Steam and gift me games or gift cards on Steam. That's the only way I make any money. If you see any ads on my channel, skip them, ad block them. They're not giving any money to me, at least for the next 6 months to probably years from now. So yes, I'm asking people to do that. Because of that, yesterday I streamed for a very long time, covering everything in my wish list. Still a significant amount of games on the wish list. A collection, certainly, of things to rethink about, like removing. A lot of things are very iffy. JRPGs are a great example of that. Like, should I play the Final Fantasy games, or should I try to play something like the Ys series, the Y''S series, or should I try to not do any of them? I haven't come any closer to making a decision there. Sales on Steam aren't amazingly great, but they're the best you're gonna get probably for a while. The summer sale also has a idle clicker game that honestly you don't even really have to play. If you just click into the menu and then don't click at all during the game, you get about the same amount of experience regardless. So if you're trying to level up your character to get more outfits, to maybe get more trading cards, you really can just severely reduce how much interaction you need to do, to the point where I've automated the whole thing with a rough and dirty macro using a very old program called Macro Maker that came with Windows 3.1, but still sort of works. Doesn't quite work 100%. Yeah, that's certainly an issue. Also, you really don't need to click in the game either. You can also just use the special abilities every half a second. So hitting 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, just hitting all of those numbers down every half a second will do about the same. But honestly, playing doesn't really increase your score by much. Not at the early level. You might as well not play at all until you're at level 9. I'm at about level 7 now. As far as the Steam Summer Sale, I'm doing my usual stupidity of buying trading cards and increasing my level, which is only smart to do if you're a YouTuber who's at some point expecting to have a lot of people friend him. For everybody else, you're perfectly fine staying at a very low level. Yeah, level also affects your booster cards and all of that, but not much anything else. But today's, because I talk so much, not a great day. I also woke up this morning and just a ton of allergens in the air. Like, this is the worst day I've ever had.
Watch out for the paradoxes!
Like,
or not! It's gonna be awesome either way!
So, like, I don't know how long I'm gonna stream today. Because I have the Steam Summer Sale to still deal with. Mostly buying trading cards, crafting badges. When you craft a badge during the summer sale, you get a extra card that lets you craft the summer sale badge, or make progress to crafting the summer sale badge. So it makes no sense to craft a badge outside of sales. You should just save them all up, and that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to buy booster packs at a discount, trying to be as efficient as possible. Let's see. We're still in this time takers point where they really scheduled this event greatly. I guess I've already done this, and there's really no reason to do this. So I'm not having to play too much to get the daily quest done, and so that really only leaves the news, and I think I need to play 3 dragons. I think this is a dragon deck, so let's start playing. The news is kind of the only thing I need to do, and then I just need to get back to playing the idle clicker. Because I've automated it in that quick and dirty macro, which is just like a short snippet of a program being run by another program. My PC will be not available to me during those times, and so that's a slight issue, but it gives me an excuse to, I guess, take a little bit of a break also, which certainly I don't deserve a break. I've been taking too many breaks in the first place. Honestly, if I hadn't taken a break in the past couple of weeks and starting with the streaming after E3, that was the time to take a break, then I would have been
fight with honor.
Not so upset about it. But I didn't really put my nose to the grindstone in the weeks before, so now it feels like 3, 4, 6 weeks, maybe, in which very little recording has happened. Because I streamed yesterday, I didn't do any broken sword. Seriously, you're gonna start talking on the first play?
Once upon a
I don't know
time.
why I played that, but whatever.
Hey, do you want to buy a funnel cake?
So I just want to get to the news and kind of burn through this. If this is just one stream, I'm perfectly fine with that. There isn't a considerable amount of news. I think there's even a cover. Games don't feel like they really come out during the Steam Summer Sale. So the what's on Steam, so that's certainly also like helpful. VidCon is happening. Not a lot really is happening around VidCon though. It's like in general, that's VidCon is kind of not a super effective place to go for YouTubers. It's just really where the famous of the famous YouTubers go to hang out with other famous YouTubers. YouTube is working. I've got the blog here, retweeted by the CEO, Susan Wojcicki. YouTube is working to make medium-sized YouTubers make a little bit more money by connecting Teespring into to your own account. So if you've got merchandise, which I don't, I really don't have much branding on my channel at all. I would need some fan who wanted to make like art and then give it to me for free if I was going to do this. Also, I would need 10,000 subscribers, so I'm not even eligible for this. But people with 10,000 subscribers right now can link their merch through Teespring. They get $1 extra from it, which is nice, instead of YouTube getting a cut, which I assume YouTube probably is getting a reference cut. So like Teespring is probably kicking back $1 to $1 also for every sale to YouTube. But at least on the face of it, if your fans went and bought a $20 shirt off your Teespring account versus buying that same $20 shirt via clicking the YouTube ad, the price doesn't go up for the end users, and you get $1. You, the channel creator, gets $1. So this is like the first deal that YouTube has ever made that is actually a good deal and not incredibly greedy. Channel memberships are going to be a thing. Viewers pay a monthly recurring fee of $4.99 cents to get unique badges, emojis, member-only posts to the community tab, and access to unique custom perks offered by the creator, such as exclusive live streams, extra videos, and shoutouts. So a lot of this that they've introduced are just catching up with Twitch. If Twitch would just catch up with some of the features that YouTube has, and they both were equal services, very much competing in the same way. Like Twitch is missing playlists, Twitch is missing as many eyes, Twitch's algorithm is pretty much non-existent as far as just putting people to go watch something else. On Twitch, when you're done watching a live stream, maybe that live stream hosts somebody else. If it doesn't, I have no clue. If your video feed goes anywhere, it may just sit there and say live stream is finished. I think it kind of does just do that. So to get memberships, you have to have 100,000 subscribers, so that's a big YouTube streamer. Merchandise, you have to have 10,000, so that's medium YouTube subscribers. And they're introducing premieres, which premieres is kind of a confusing thing. It's again just doing what Twitch has already done, which is a countdown towards pre-recorded footage. I'm not sure how or if my videos will ever work that way. I think it might take a step in the right direction for people like my channel. 1 second. Yeah, I'm gonna cough all through this stream. I'm pretty sure I am. So yeah, it's premieres are countdown timers to pre-recorded footage. So like when my next Assassin's Creed episode comes out, theoretically there should be a premiere where people could hop on and start chatting before it streams. There's a little countdown video. Yes, but premieres also not eligible to me because you have to have 10,000 subscribers. And inherently, this is how you know that even if I was to get the 1,000 subscribers to be monetized again, I wouldn't be surprised if in a year and a half they said, no, you're demonetized again until you get 10,000. It's just, they're gonna move the goalpost over and over again. Until YouTube is only the land of having super popular YouTubers, and then once those super popular YouTubers grow out of it and stop making content, YouTube is just going to become this the land of no content. In the blog they're talking about Super Chat a lot. Super Chat, pretty popular, although membership and Super Chat both have competing services that would be better for you to use. Streamlabs for Super Chat is better service.
You have no idea.
It doesn't give money to YouTube, who doesn't really deserve it. And Streamlabs' cut is smaller than YouTube's, as I understand it. And memberships would be better on Patreon, frankly, for the exact same reasons. Not giving money to YouTube. Like, I want to see YouTube succeed, but I think it's got to fail a little bit. It's got to struggle for money and get desperate to the point where there's new leadership and there's a new decisions to actually care about the content creators and the audience. Right now, we've got people in charge of YouTube and running YouTube that don't care about either the content creators or the audience, and that's no good for a service. This certainly would be a case of if I had enough money, I would just buy stock in Google Alphabet and demand the ouster of the board of YouTube. Moving on though, PC Gamer has an article. Digital adaptations of a board game called Viticulture and Charterstone board games are in the works. Beta versions could emerge as soon as next spring. PC Gamer did expand into covering board games, so I've never heard of these board games. Maybe they're really popular, maybe they're not. I think in general, board games aren't anywhere as popular as they started getting advertised and pushed as like once that Geek and Sundry Will Wheaton show came out. That started making a lot of board games a lot more popular than, in my mind, than they really were. And of course, Geek and Sundry is it's kind of in a weird place right now politically with Chris Hardwick being one of the two people who formed Geek and Sundry, and then they sold it to Lionsgate Cinemas, the movie production company that made the Saw series, and Lionsgate Cinemas, I think, is in part owned by a Chinese company now. So it was sold as this Geek and Sundry was, as it was a nerd channel made by nerds, and then after it gained an audience that way, it stopped really catering to that audience as well. And the shows that Geek and Sundry have now are just not the shows that the series was started with and were interesting to me. This is pretty much exactly the same thing that the Sci-Fi Channel originally did. And, you know, G4 and Tech TV also had similar things. A lot of bait and switch happens in entertainment industries. Felicia Day was the other nerd geek that started Geek and Sundry, and she doesn't seem to have any involvement with it anymore at all either. So yeah, that's weird. Felicia Day being kind of interesting because she was sort of a YouTube sensation, online sensation, with her she was making a TV series, online series, with several other people, actors that frankly were actual actors, and so it was better quality. There's really not a lot of reasons to go into that though. Like, I certainly don't have time right now. If I'm saying I'm sick, I don't need to get distracted. I can already tell that part of the algae, hay fever, or whatever I'd call it that I'm having right now is leading me towards distraction. So I just want to really focus. Eurogamer has an article, 2 years on, Pokemon Go's new friend system refreshes the game. Maybe now would be a good time to get into Pokemon Go. I'm not going to really read this article because I don't play Pokemon Go. I don't think also that for me I could ever play Pokemon Go because I just don't leave the house that often, and the core part of the game is to let's see. A core part of Pokemon Go is walking around, and without that, you're not really going to be able to achieve much. Still playing Clash Royale. Clash Royale came out with some new cards, and that's always slightly interesting, but for the most part, most of the new cards are not super unique. A fan made an interesting fan art of Hearthstone. I retweeted that. If you follow me on Twitter or Facebook, it also does that. Something too. If I could just, I guess I just have to do it this time. PC Gamer has an article. Unavowed is a retro adventure about demonic possession and what comes after. The new game from Wadjet Eye will be out in August, but the launch trailer is here. Certainly I have a ton of point-and-click adventure games, and this looks like just another point-and-click adventure game. So this would go on my wish list if it has a Steam page, when it might very well already have a Steam page. So yes, it does. So yeah, I'll keep an eye on it. I'm really not burning through point-and-click adventure games as fast as I probably should be. There is definitely a factor there where I should play more of them and take back the point-and-click adventure time slot from being half kids games and half point-and-click adventure times games. But if I was to take that back, that means I then either abandon the kids time slot completely, which I've half done already, or I do twice as many point-and-click adventure games in a month, which I don't know if that's the direction I should go. So yeah, that certainly is a thought. Moving on, PC Gamer has an article. Halo's legacy forms will be missed, especially the Flood. Bungie is scrubbing the old forms next week. So that's crazy. Like, I don't know if scrubbing, I guess. Like, I guess it is. The forums have been read-only for a time, but now they're officially getting scrubbed from the net. The Bungie Pro video archives are also being removed. The only thing left will be a trimmed-down version of Halo match records and career pages. At least you'll still be able to brag about your kill-death ratio and your KD. I don't know why Bungie would want to do that. I guess they just want to go forward and have people focus on Halo Infinite, and maybe this is some misguided thought that some search engine other than Google was still bringing up those forums in search results. I mean, honestly, I doubt it's because people were still looking at the read-only forums so much that it was causing network traffic that really mattered, or that it's hard drive space or anything. Well, that was it for the Asian account. Let's just move straight into the European account. We have a game on Steam called Basketball, just called Basketball. Looks like, I think it's a VR game. It's actually on a court, unlike the last VR basketball game I saw.
Welcome to my end.
$2.39. It's not VR. It's 40% off. Yeah, it's a very, very simplistic game. And I don't think we're going to see any real high quality games on Steam.
It's gonna be awesome either way.
This is really great. Like, they're really not even adding any content to Hearthstone, and yet they're keeping you thinking like you're still doing that. I guess that bundle is now gone. I can spend $5 here for this welcome bundle on my European account. But the old bundle, the bundle that was on 2 of every old one that came and went. I'm pretty glad I didn't spend money on that though, so I'm not upset. Bunch of spells and a bunch of turns. Bunch of spells and bunch of turns, and that's kind of all I need to do here. So tempo mage, start playing. Let's see. Gematsu has an article, World End Syndrome launches August 18th in Japan. It's a love adventure game.
Jane versus
It's for the PS4, Switch, and the Vita, August 30th by Arc System Works. One assumes it's a visual novel. And I see one screenshot that I really couldn't say. Graphics look amazingly good. Look alright. There definitely is a level of Japanese animation alright, and then Western animation alright. In the sense, I think mostly in the fact that I have never seen, or at least to my memory, I cannot remember ever seeing a low effort, pixel art, 8-bit Japanese game that wasn't worth looking at. If a Japanese game did try to use that art, which I imagine a couple have, there's a reason for it, and it's not something I'd classify as low effort. Maybe I'm holding Japanese game developers to a different standard. That's very possible, but like they really are about the visuals, I think, just as a society, and everybody knows that. That's why they have things called visual novels. They're mostly Japanese, where in the West we just have mostly novels. Moving on, Gamasutra has an article, Mighty Bear Games secures millions to create next-gen online titles. I've never heard of this this company though, and since Gamasutra is kind of an industry website, this probably doesn't mean a lot to anybody. Like, there's nothing in the article that even indicates what Mighty Bear Games may have worked on before, so I would be surprised if there isn't actually too much that they have worked on, if anything.
Well played.
Your Gamer has a editorial. If Ubisoft wants to cling on to Clancy, it's time to talk politics by the book. I've never read the Tom Clancy books, but I imagine they are rather political. It would certainly make sense. Of course, this is Your Gamer wanting Ubisoft to get extremely liberal, proactive SJW. And that's what they mean by talking politics. If anything, I imagine if they were to take Tom Clancy books and do them like do a word-for-word translation to video games, I wouldn't be surprised if the games are very right-wing, pro-government type concepts. So, the truth though is Ubisoft just got away from being almost hostilely taken over by Vivendi, so they shouldn't do anything extreme. There is definitely in the mainstream video game media a complaint that they've set their second game in Washington DC, and then that they didn't, I don't know, somehow find a way to denounce Trump. But The Division 2 is set in a world where a terrorist organization I don't know if there's any kind of nationality behind that terrorist organization. I think they're homegrown terrorists, if anything. They managed to put a virus on money, and the virus just spread and spread and spread. So you're into this fictional scenario to begin with in the Division 2 that in no real way can actually be connected to modern time or modern politics. So whatever politics do get talked about or brought up in the Division are going to be the politics of that world, and the politics of that world are kind of non-existent because there's really no society in that world. And most people don't want to hear anything about politics, and this is another example of your gamer just being out of the loop. If anything, your gamer shouldn't bring up politics, because I think I could probably talk off their head about European politics. On the Beastcast, Vinny also, he seems to be getting more and more vocal about his political leanings also, and see, that's the weird thing about the Giant Bomb crew. Like, I grew up with them as they were growing up. Like, I wasn't young, but like when Whiskey Media formed the Giant Bomb, it's kind of there within the first couple of years. I kind of known them, but they've started to show either extremer attitudes than what they had, or maybe they always had those attitudes and they decided just now is the time to show it. And so, I mean, you really, I don't think at this point can draw a line and say, no, it's not just Scoops, it's not just Abby, it's not just one of the members of Giant Bomb. The entire group is on some level spectrum in which they are radically progressive, particularly in the video game topics.
Greetings.
Let's see, but I really can't get into a rant today. There's a game on Steam called Sniper Father, and frankly, I'm getting in the exact same rants every 2 days. It's the same thing coming up over and over again, and I don't know how to just put a gag order on the fact that the mainstream gaming media keeps on talking about the same issues over and over again. I guess in the end, like, either I stay silent on it and then let people spout off things that I don't think everybody agrees with, or I refute it, and I feel like I kind of have a moral obligation to refute it. There's a game on Steam called Sniper Father. It doesn't look very good. It's like MS Paint graphics. Let's see, $1.99, not even on sale. Moving on. There's a Russian-only game called Call Each New Year. It looks like a very cheaply made visual novel, using actual photos instead of animation at all.
What to do? What to do? We must cleanse the Sunwell. Need to play spells. There's a game on Steam called J-15 Fighter Jet VR. What's the J-15? Is that a Japanese jet? It's in English and simplified Chinese. It's $16.99. $16.99. It looks pretty good for a VR game where you might be flying around the jet, but it probably isn't that good. It would be certainly a risky purchase in early access for such a high price. We've seen previous Chinese games that
that tried to be drive a boat, a simulator, drive a luxury yacht simulator type games. And even though they looked really pretty, the reviews and the pictures didn't show enough quality to really justify the price. Moving on, Rock Paper Shotgun has an article, psychological horror slasher. A Hellblade goes platinum, so Hellblade Soonest Sacrifice has sold, I believe, over 1 million copies. What is platinum now? I don't know if you really would call it a horror slasher either. That's an interesting way to describe it. Like, Hellblade is one of the games that I would certainly like to cover. It's 40% off, I think, right now on Steam. So, like, that's a decent, very pretty looking, pretty recent game that you can cover without any prequels or sequels tying around the series. Would be also probably a decent game to play before Devil May Cry came out, because Ninja Theory is the same people who made DMC Devil May Cry. Let's see. Gamasutra has an article. Valve's updated Knuckles VR controller brings pinpoint fingerprint tracking. So Valve rather quietly released a new version of their developer Knuckles controller, which is not a controller I've even heard of before, so I'm just gonna be honest about that. And with that new controller, they introduced a Portal inspired Moondust demo. The thing about the Knuckles controller is it can sense if you're grabbing tightly or softly around the controller. And it's just moved around the thumbstick and the touchpad, and it looks like it is definitely a good evolution of the concept. However, it really is just evolution in the realm of experimenting with VR that doesn't seem like it's going anywhere, particularly since now Microsoft has come out straight and said we don't care about VR. Like, we're not going to put it in Xbox One. And maybe they'll do augmented reality, but I doubt we'll get an augmented reality headset on Xbox One. PC Gamer has an article. Ni no Kuni 2 difficulty update fixes the biggest problems, and you can get it cheap on the summer sale also. I guess I'd like to play Ni no Kuni 2. I guess I'll just have to skip the first game, which probably isn't too big of a deal. Let's see, Hand Druid. Would I have any more spells to play? No, Tempo Mage would be the one to play spells. The difficulty patch adds a hard and expert mode above the default normal mode from it. From the video, according to the article, hard mode decreases the damage you deal and increases the damage you take around 30%. Expert mode looks to be around 50 or 60%. So adding difficulty to a game that probably is played by more anime fans than little kids in the West makes a little bit of sense. So yeah, nice update. PC Gamer has probably what is the biggest news right now. Just 4 hours ago this article's written. Bethesda has sued Warner for ripping off Fallout Shelter in its Westworld game. Bethesda claims Westworld mobile game is basically a clone of Fallout Shelter and even uses some of the same code. Aren't both of them made in Unity? So that might be interesting. The thing certainly about the claim about using same the same code, which is much more actionable than I think than saying it's basically a clone of Fallout Shelter, which is not actionable at all. You can't copyright game concepts, so you could easily make something that was a clone of Fallout Shelter, just don't call it Fallout or Shelter, and you're probably fine. And you probably could also call it Fallout and Shelter, because I bet neither one of those phrases are alone trademarkable or copyrightable. Let's see. ZeniMax, the parent company of Bethesda, very Sue happy, and they definitely would like to stop the creation of this game and get a large amount of the money that has already been made on the Westworld game. Here's the underlying issues. Bethesda claims that Warner hired Behavior Interactive, which is the people who actually made the Shelter game, and because you hired the same company, they're trying to make a claim that probably shouldn't stand up in court. That yes, they would make a product that was very similar to the previous products.
Speak your piece.
Like that, this lawsuit's not gonna stand up in court, because the thing here is, if Bethesda didn't want somebody to hire Behavior Interactive, the thing they should have done is purchased Behavior Interactive, so they wouldn't work for anybody else, or written all the code originally themselves and have a copyright of the underlying code. But if you are effectively licensing the code and subcontracting the creation of your game, don't be surprised if the same thing happens, a similar game comes out from the same developer. Like, they're equivalently asking somebody who builds houses to never build houses again the same way that they built the first house, and that's insane. Wouldn't stand up. Let's see, moving on. PC Gamer, I imagine this is certainly just not, that won't be a case that lasts. PC Gamer has Life is Strange will land in September. The sequel, the story of Max and Chloe, features a brand new cast of characters. I'd actually like to watch this trailer, even though I'm not super interested in Life is Strange. It's coming out September 27th.
Jaina versus Thrall.
Because
you asked for it.
Like, yeah, episode 1 of 5 comes out September 27th, 2018. Yeah, that trailer did not show me anything. Let's see, the quote here is, it's set in the same universe that contains links to brand new story and characters of Life is Strange 2. Or the demo, The Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit, is set in the same universe that contains brand new story and characters as Life is Strange 2. I honestly doubt that Max and Chloe are coming back on Life is Strange 2. It would feel weird if they did. So the way this article is kind of titled is a little confusing and misleading.
That didn't go as...
I still haven't looked at what Otome means. Let's see. Oh, maiden games. Yeah, I did look up what those are. So Otome are visual novels where the female is treated like a special maiden, and there are several male characters to pick through and to date. So the Otomi visual novel London Detective Mysteria is coming to the West for the PS Vita and PC this fall. It will be playable at the Anime Expo 2018. I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing more and more Japanese games playing at Anime Expo and other events like that instead of E3. Let's see. It was originally released in 2013 in Japan, followed by an enhanced PS Vita version in 2016, and so it's getting its third release. So either it's pretty popular or it's pretty cheap. I think we already talked about this, but according to Game of Sutra, Friday the 13th developer scraps all future content plans for Friday the 13th. I thought they had already announced that though. So then the real question becomes, Gun Media, the developer of Friday the 13th, the game, do they have enough money? Do they have enough development to make another game? Or are they going to shut down completely? There's definitely some weirdness and shenanigans with Gun Media, because originally the game that they were making was not a Friday the 13th game. It was an inspired by, but not using the license type game. It was kickstarted, and they seemed to be on track to develop the game as it was without the Friday the 13th license. They were given the Friday the 13th license by the person who they thought owned it, but now that's up for legal dispute. And when they were given the license, apparently it feels like, if I'm recalling things correctly, they went extremely overboard on the development and said, well, this went from a small indie project into a major AAA product. So the company probably grew a lot, grew in number of employees, grew in the amount of money they were spending on the project, which probably meant it grew in the amount they were spending in general. And I'm not sure if the company was going to succeed in the first place, and I'm definitely not sure it will succeed now that there's less, now that they don't have a license. They need to make something that is better than Friday the 13th, which in itself wasn't the greatest of games, and they kind of need to get it out pretty quickly. There is also an inherent fear that they might get stopped from selling any new copies of Friday the 13th, but it's an online game, so if they did do that, there'd be no reason to buy it. So if you want to play Friday the 13th right now and it's on sale in the summer sale, I'd say get it, but also know in the back of your head that game is probably not very popular with multiplayer people, and it's not getting any updates, so you're gonna have to love the game as it is, which is the right way to buy games anyways, is love it as it is, not on the promises of what it might be. Moving on, PC Gamer has an article, Red Dead Redemption 2 PC temporarily appears on a Rockstar LinkedIn profile. The mention has since been removed. So an employee said on LinkedIn accidentally that he was working on / saw
cleanse the Sunwell.
That he was working on a Red Dead Redemption 2 PC version. Which, okay, like in the end that doesn't really mean much, because the PC version still could never get released, or it might get released really late, and even if it does get released, I'm still not sure I'm at the point where I'd want to play it on PC, because Red Dead Redemption 1 was never allowed on PC, and the Red Dead game before Red Dead Redemption was not on PC, I don't think. So you're in the what is maybe the third game in the series of this at least the second game in the in the series. So yeah, there's definite reasons to maybe try to play a different type of Western game. However, when I was going through the Steam Summer Sale, Western games were kind of rare. Like, there definitely is a lack of Western games that I have wishlisted or that I have to play. Ubisoft is looking for a tools programmer in Montreal, Canada, Quebec. If you're interested in that. Let's see.
By the elements combined.
We have what I could only call a VR game made by Westerners called Anime Show. It even has Japanese words at the end, but it is actually only English, so this is a low effort game in some way, and an asset flip really. What it's done, I imagine, it's tagged with nudity, sexual content, simulation, casual, and VR. What I imagine it's done, it's like a fashion show. A bunch of anime models are walking down a fashion aisle and back up. But what I imagine what they've done is they've just asset flipped a bunch of anime girls from like Unity or on the Unreal Marketplace, and they've definitely got a body type here that I can't
push forward
fully agree with. It is extremely thin. Some of the girls have cat ears, extremely large busts. So they probably didn't even spend that much money getting varied body types, and instead
push forward.
Did simple things like just head swaps, hair color swaps, things like that. The clothing, if this was really supposed to be a clothing of anime outfits, like that doesn't make sense either. And there's nothing else here. Maybe there's some music that's worth looking at. You can definitely, if you put enough effort into it, see that these are Western animations of anime girls and not what you would get as far as a VR version of a Japanese company doing the exact same thing. And frankly, I think the Japanese companies would do it differently and probably not make a game like this, because there's a lack of characterization and personality that's getting added to the people you're seeing if they're just walking up and down a fashion walk. Let's see. Yeah, if this was a Japanese game, you would have seen a lot more announcements about it and a lot of like character backgrounds and stories of each of the characters. You could probably do a very similar thing like this with some famous characters. Like there should be some of the girls from Neon Genesis Evangelion, like clones of that, cheap rip-offs of that. There should be several other characters that I probably could name off the top of my head if I was thinking straight and not suffering from an allergy sickness. I don't even know what you would call this. I found a new way to be sick apparently. Anime Show is 20% off for $14.39. You're gonna spend about 5 minutes on this game and it'll be done. It's barely a demo, and that's it. And going down that theme, we have another game on Steam called True Hinta Puzzle, which is like a single screen, what is this? Kind of tile matching game, tile sliding game. it seems like. And here's some more downright pornographic images in the screenshots. So I guess we're pushing the luck on these and seeing if Steam really is going to kick games off after the summer sale for being downright pornographic. There's still a question there. Definitely still a question. This is also one of these achievement games that has 422 achievements. Interesting. Let's see. Well, yeah, that's an extremely low effort game. Let's move on. Next game we have on Steam is called Unbroken Warrior. It has one tag of action, and it too doesn't look good enough. It's like a fighting game with characters I do not recognize and that did not look very good. And the graphics don't look good. It looks like it might even be a mobile port. It's 40% off for $4.19. And yeah, nothing really else to say about them. Really hating these new developer pages. It's just taking me. Here's the article for Gamma Sutra. Microsoft scraps plans for VR support on Xbox. Which, okay. There's definitely just an okay response to that. Like, VR is just not working on consoles. It may still have some life on PC, but it's not working for. It's not working for Sony, and Microsoft sees that. Moving on, Gematsu has an article. Azuma 11 Aries is coming to the West in 2019. Azuma 11 is kind of a kid anime about a sports team playing soccer. Let's see. In Japan, Azuma 11 Aries is due out for the PS4, Switch, and smartphones, which I think you probably get a different experience on each one of those platforms. Azuma 11 feels like a soccer game that would have story, and because it would have story, it might be the right soccer game for me, instead of trying to play something like FIFA, which suffers from not really having an interesting story to me. Moving on, Gematsu has an article. Redout Space Assault has been announced for PC, due out in Q1 of 2019. Redout is, I think, a remake or continuation of a really old arcade game. What game is it? It's the same as an indie simulation, space colorful, single player game. Is it a racing game in spaceships, or? It feels like it would be. I'm gonna have to watch the trailer. Right now on my computer I have several other games running trying to get card drops. I'm gonna spend effort this summer sale to try to get everything up to level 5 as far as badges and be done with it. But I certainly am spending insane amounts of money leveling up my character for no reason, really. It's turned, trading cards and badges on Steam have turned into a game in themselves, and it is the worst kind of game. It is a microtransaction game. And it's really something I should just wash my hands of and say no. Maybe I'll get up to like level 100. I'm at 67 now, so if I get up to level 100, maybe then a nice round number might be a point to say I'll leave it there. There is also certainly a factor of your level is supposed to influence whether you're getting booster cards or not, but at level 67 I don't get booster cards ever, and I feel like I should. I have one person that's friended me that's at like level 277, so there's certainly seems to be higher directions you can go. Seriously, even in a trailer I didn't know this. Next generation tactical space shooter is what it says it is. I guess I'm gonna just wishlist this game, Red Out Space Assault, and see what it is later. TechRaptor has an article, Juggling Multiple, Farsight Studios and the Loss of Pinball Licenses. I did spend about $220, maybe $200 even, buying 5 of the 7 seasons in Pro Packs at the high premium of 30, like $30 per season per Pro Pack. So yeah, $30 times 5 should be about $150, but I think the tax knocked it up to about $200. They're definitely, that was kind of the only thing I bought besides Assassin's Creed Black Flag. I also bought that since I'm committed to do that, and that's all I really intend to purchase. I did also buy $25 of Steam Wallet card, cash to buy booster packs and trading cards and finished badges. But it's I definitely did want the Pinball Arcade tables. They're not on sale now, but they're going away June 30th, and so now is the time to buy them. Anything you purchase during the summer sale goes towards giving you trading cards to make that summer sale badge, to then increase your level, to give you 5 more player slots per level, or every now and per 2 or 3 levels. So now is the time, if you ever want to play an emulator of playing real pinball tables or something similar to that, because it's highly unlikely, nothing was announced that the Williams and Bailey tables are going to ever be available for purchase again. But it is definitely with some sadness to spend so much money on one game. Here in the article we have a quote that says, "We are all very disappointed." There is also an argument that like the way Pinball Arcade updated its interface recently was not great, and so there's a slight unhappiness in that, but I don't think enough for the license holders to pull themselves. Funhouse is one of the Williams and Bailey tables that are leaving. Adams Family. I think it's another one that's leaving. At some point I do want to do like a quick look and show off each table now on Pinball Arcade, but I'm happy with my choice. Of course, I'll be very unhappy with my choice if it turns out that this some kind of shenanigans are going on, and some new company has the license to all those pinball tables and they're going to do it a lot better, or that they don't actually lose the licenses. But that's usually not the case. If a game company says they're losing the license, they're losing the license. And they already said they couldn't put anything on sale, so nothing's on sale. Moving on, PC Gamer has an article. Pro Evolution Soccer 2018 has an unofficial player-made World Cup mode. If you're interested in Pro Evolution Soccer 2018, that is there for that. Let's see.
I wonder.
Play this. We've got a game on Steam called Crypto Chain that seems like it is a draw a line to match items puzzle game. I don't think there's really anything anything actually about this game that has anything to do with cryptocurrency. It's just a advertising thing. And I think because of that, I'd probably skip this game. It's 75% off for 49 cents, and so I bet Crypto Chain isn't that good in the first place or that long. It's from a developer who's made about a dozen other games, and the games are rated highly and all about 49 cents and pretty simplistic. But yeah, I think you could easily skip that. No need to buy something that's selling itself on the cryptocurrency fan. Gamer Citra has an article. Microsoft says original Crackdown 3 dev no longer working on the game. There's more evidence in this that that Epic is really a shady company to deal with, and I could see why now. And maybe this was known before, or just not, but maybe not put out to the average people. But I can see why people don't want to use Unreal Engine 5 from Epic, 4 from Epic, is because they get into your company and they start hiring your employees away from your company, and they compete with you instead of working with you as a partner like partners should. And there's just some bad business practices, maybe good business practices, but unethical disloyalty happening there. That being said, there is more to the story than just that. It seems,
the sun well.
as I understood it, so I might get this wrong, the founder of Regent Games, I believe is his name, well, somebody who's, I think, sits on the board of Regent Games, went on, oh no, here it is. The founder of Regent Games, David Jones, left the studio at the beginning of 2018 to join Epic Games as director of cloud strategy after his other company, CloudGen, was acquired by Epic Games. So Epic Games acquired CloudGen, which was the company that was supposed to be making all of the things that were happening through the cloud in the background of Crackdown 3, got acquired by Epic. And so Crackdown 3 had like 5 different companies working on it. One was Regent Games, one was CloudGen, which were, those two companies were being run by the same person, and Sumo Digital, I believe, is working on it also, and there's several other things.
Let the hunt begin.
You asked for it.
So David Jones in particular feels like he started this tech startup, CloudGen, promised the world through cloud AI running a completely destructible city, which is not even a huge selling point for Crackdown 3, and probably jerked him around and cost him a bunch of money and a time, certainly. And in the end, I think Microsoft has now just come out and said, look, only Sumo Digital is now. We're only working with Sumo Digital to make Crackdown 3. Everybody else is either done or no longer involved for one reason or the other. And every indication is that Crackdown 3 won't have a completely destroyable city, which, I mean, honestly, it's not even a great selling point. Eventually, if you destroy your entire city, there's nothing to do, and then you have to put in some ridiculous mechanic where they rebuild the city. It's much better if you're going to have buildings break that be a storyline element and just pre-rendered and pre-programmed. Crackdown 3 still seems like it's in trouble, though. Eurogamer has the article, Valve made a new Portal demo for the latest VR control, Knuckles EV2. I already talked about that. The demo can be played without the Knuckles EV2, but it's very clunky and doesn't work the way it should work. Your Gamer has an article. Assassin's Creed Odyssey has reversible box art to let you choose your cover star. So if you want to play as the female character and have that box art, that's there for you. If you want to have the male character, you can convert that. They do this pretty frequently with Japanese DVDs and Blu-rays, but generally speaking, what they do is they take the lettering and all the ugly things, all the labeling and the ESRB ratings and all that stuff. Usually that's what you lose on reversible box art. So if there's one picture with the guy and it has all the text on it, and then the other picture is just the girl, there's definitely a lack of balance there, and I can see a lot of people just going to the girl box art because it's prettier without all the word and descriptors on it.
A stranger will offer you aid.
There's also, on video games, a higher occurrence of stores like GameStop putting stickers and price tags on the plastic on top of the box art and over the edges, which doesn't leave box art treated amazingly good or looking amazingly good. And frankly, I don't consider video game boxes to be pieces of art as much as I would say anime boxes are, where they put a lot of effort to accomplish that. I would say it's much more a case of they get used, they get sold, and then the video game boxes look fine on a shelf, but it's not something I would look at at all. Moving on, Gamer Sutra has an article. Steam VR introduces new skeletal input system for advanced animations. This is part of the new skeletal system. I think what this is it is a way to animate the hand that you're seeing that's holding the virtual controller in the game. Not so much a system.
What to do? What to do?
Yeah, it says the skeletal input system allows developers to capture the pose of a hand and provide it as a stream of animation data so that it can be used to animate hands the user's avatar will have or use. So yeah.
What to do?
That
do?
Inherently is one of the things that can cause a game to get laggy, is if you're trying to animate every single bone in a human body for every character. In VR, it's not probably going to be an issue. But eventually we'll have supercomputers, I imagine, that will be able to animate every bone, every muscle, every twitch in a human. And who knows what level of detail we would have to add to get above that.
Job's done.
Eurogamer has an article. Epic keeps disabling the Fortnite shopping carts because players keep using them to glitch under the map. Which I'm not 100% sure why they need to do that. Like, why is that a big problem? Is it a X-ray cheat? I bet, so that you can see where all the players are. Is it a speedrun cheat? I guess maybe that might be the case, is that it's an X-ray cheat so you can see through everything. Have we played all the quests yet? Probably should break up the recordings right now. Let's just go ahead and do that. Like, yeah, it's been an hour and 17 minutes. Let's break up the recording and then I'll have another recording too, and we'll make 2 today and then be done. That's gonna be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. If you want to support me even further, I'm asking people to friend me and give me a game on Steam. Steam Summer Sale's happening right now. Never going to be a better time to do that. That's it for this recording. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.